At Citi Field in New York, Pix 11 Sports presents New York Mets baseball tonight. The Mets play the New York Yankees. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Hyundai. It's go time at the Hyundai Summer Sales Event. Hyundai, not just new, better. By Fios. Fios is not cable. We're wired differently. Visit getfios.com. By the Kia Top Quality Sales Event. Visit tristatekiadealers.com to learn more. By Raymore and Flanagan Furniture, furnishing your style. By Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. And by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event, now through September 5th. Well, there's a new bat in town. His name is Bruce. He comes from Cincinnati. After 8.5 years as a Red, Jay Bruce wears a Mets uniform for the first time tonight, batting third and playing right field. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling will join me in just a moment as the Mets play Game 2 of their 4-game home-and-home series with the Yankees. Well, the Mets have struggled all year to drive in runs, so they brought in the National League's RBI leader yesterday in a trade. Jay Bruce makes his debut as a Met tonight, leading the National League in RBIs with 80, having his best season of his career after 2 down years in a row. 8.5 years in Cincinnati, Bruce has established himself as one of the best power hitters in the game. In fact, since his debut in 2008, nobody has hit more home runs in the National League than Jay Bruce. And as Jay prepares for his debut, we've sent Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling off to their former places of business. Ron is out in the bullpen. We'll hear from him momentarily. Keith is down in the on-deck circle where Jay Bruce will make his first turn plate appearance, batting third in the order, as Keith did for much of his career. So I was wondering, Keith, as he gets ready for that first at-bat, how will he approach things?
Well, every player has his different little idiosyncrasies he works on in the on-deck circle. I always use pine tar. None of the stuff is here. I used to like to get down on one knee. A lot of the players don't do that today. They like to stand up at their stance and look at the pitcher. I think it's important. Always in the on-deck circle, when you get up, you're looking intently at that pitcher, trying to get a read on his fastball, his movement, his breaking ball. Now, with the new ballparks, Gary, with the dugouts further up the line at Shea, it used to be more, this on-deck circle would give you a better angle. You were closer to home plate, so you had a much better angle, had a better view on how the pitcher was throwing. It's very critical that you don't sit here and do nothing. You got to watch and pay attention and look for things. So we'll see what we will look to see on Jay Bruce's first at bat, what his idiosyncrasies are.
And as Jay and the rest of the Mets get ready from the on-deck circle, tonight's pitchers get ready in the bullpen for their start. Ronnie, when you approach a start now, is it any different from what you did back in your day?
Well, you know what's interesting, Gary? With all the things available to today's pitcher, they can study every nuance of the mechanics in between starts. But you know what's beautiful? It doesn't matter if you're Tanaka from Japan or DeGrom from Central Florida. The warm-up has stayed just the same as it's been for the last 50 years, and 50 years from now, it'll still be the same. It's the greatest working office in all of sports. You get to stand there with your mentor next to you as you deliver pitches, and he kind of gives you little clues here and there to make sure you refine those pitches. You got a bullpen catcher that you hope has a real new mitt, so you sound like you're throwing 95 plus. And finally, when the catcher that's catching that day comes in, you put the coach up in the right-handed or left-handed batter's box, and you start working on sequence and nuances of pitches. And I'll tell you right there, when you've got a full lather like a boxer and you're ready to go, that walk to the dugout is one of the great things in sports.
From the on-deck circle to the front and the bullpen to the center of the diamond, 60 feet 6 inches away. The Mets and the Yankees getting set. All the action on Pix 11. by Modell Sporting Goods, your fan gear headquarters. Come on, Met fans, you got to go to Moe's. Get to Citi Field Saturday, August 13th to watch the Mets take on the Padres at 7:10. Plus, stay after the game as the rock group Styx performs as part of the Mets post-game concert series presented by Budweiser. Admission to the concert is included in the price of the game ticket. For tickets, visit Mets.com/concerts. Mets' upcoming schedule brought to you by the new movie Hands of Stone in theaters everywhere August 26th. Mets will have 5 straight DH games starting tomorrow. That'll work in their favor with Yoenis Cespedes battling a quad, 2 at Yankee Stadium, 3 in Detroit. Then the Mets come right back home to play Arizona and San Diego next week here at Citi Field. Mets trying to get even with the Yankees after an extra inning loss last night. Subway Series Game 2, first pitch coming right up. Jacob deGrom trying to duplicate his last start when he threw 7 scoreless innings against the Colorado Rockies. He was brilliant in that game, wound up with a no decision. His 6-5 1-loss record not at all indicative of how he's performed this year. 5th in the majors in ERA. There's the Yankees starting lineup brought to you by the Kia top quality sales event. Only one change. Aaron Hicks plays right field. Otherwise the same starting lineup for the Yankees, who snapped a 4-game losing streak last night by rallying for 2 in the 8th and 1 in the 10th to beat the Mets 6-5. There are the numbers on deGrom. His previous start against Miami, he had his worst start of the season, got knocked out in the 4th inning. The start before that, he threw a 1-hit shutout against the Phillies. But for the most part, deGrom has been right on top of his game. Brett Gardner will lead off tonight. Last night, an exciting start to the game. 2nd pitch thrown. And Gardner hit one off the fence. Legged out a triple as the ball bounced away from Justin Ruggiano, but Neil Walker's relay throw got him at the plate as Gardner attempted the leadoff inside the park home run and came up a little bit shy. And he'll lead off tonight against Jacob deGrom. Jacob made his major league debut against the Yankees on the Citi Field mound 2 years ago in May. Lost a 1-0 game that night, but it was a well-pitched start to what has turned out to be an outstanding first 2+ years in the major leagues. Gardner 2 for 4 last night, had a double and a triple, hitting a .262 for the year. And deGrom set to go. And his first pitch of the night is up and away for ball 1.
Hi,
Gardner, then Ellsbury into Teixeira. Keith has made it back from the on-deck circle.
Ronnie has a lot further to go out in that bullpen in right field, so either that or he's slowing down.
Well, they should still have those cars they used to bring the pitchers in from the bullpen. Gardner lifts this one to center field. Alejandro Diaz playing out there. And that's the first out of the night.
And we'll take a look at the Mets defense, brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. Of course, we can't have to mention Jay Bruce, his first game as a Met, the big trade. Loney, Walker, Reynolds again at shortstop with Cabrera on the DL, Flores at third base, and d'Arnaud behind the plate.
Jay Bruce, outstanding arm in right field. Maybe doesn't cover quite as much ground as he used to, but he is here for his bat. Jacoby Ellsbury fouls off the first pitch fastball. Ellsbury 2 for 4 last night. It was interesting. One of the first things that Jay said when he got here is that Terry Collins asked him, how do you feel about playing center field? Which it seems is the question that every Mets outfielder gets asked right about now.
And the answer was?
Well, he played there a few games 8 years ago. He said he'd be willing to do whatever the manager wants him to. But right now the Mets have a lot of pieces in the outfield, none of whom, other than De Aza, really profiles as a center fielder.
Well, I can tell you, Gary, that we had a look at Jay Bruce in right field there, that he is got butterflies. It's I don't care if you're a rookie or a 10-year veteran, 15-year veteran. You go to a new ballpark, a new team, and you open up at home in front of your new fans. You got the jitters.
And his situation, Keith, is much like yours when you got traded to the Mets. There's the 1-2, and Ellsbury lifts one to center. Another play for De Aza, and there are 2 out. In that, he spent 8.5 years with one organization,
right?
Much like you did.
Exactly. And I was very, when I got traded over mid-season, we opened up. My first game was in Montreal, and then when I signed the big extension, I was happy that the season started in '84, that we opened up in Cincinnati and Houston on the road. Actually, it was Cincinnati, Houston, Atlanta, Chicago. It was a big road trip, I recall.
Here's Mark Teixeira with 2 out. Ronnie has rejoined us from the bullpen. I was just saying to Keith, they should have the carts like they used to drive the pitchers in from the pen.
That's right. Got a little problem in the elevator, but I'm good now.
I still have a big visual of Tug coming in that golf court, tapping his glove on his thigh as he came in.
He used to toss his jacket out of the car. Those with the carts with the big hats on the top. DeGrom behind 2-0, and Teixeira takes outside. Teixeira has 2 home runs and 5 career at bats against DeGrom, so naturally Jacob being a little more careful with him. It's been a rough year for Teixeira, hitting just 192, 1 for 4 last night, at an opposite field single. And there's a strike 3-1. Brian McCann would be next. And Teixeira with a big swing and strike, 3-2.
Well, he's got that big uppercut, Teixeira. He came over to the Yankees, and like everybody that's left-hand hitter, they'd teach him to pull. Look at him drop the back shoulder, big uppercut.
Three-two. A little bit low, ball 4, and Teixeira's on with a 2-out walk. So the Yankees have the first base runner of the night. And Brian McCann will come to bat. McCann 1 for 4 last night. 3 hits in 6 career at bats against DeGrom.
Well, needless to say, that was a tough loss for the Mets last night.
It was a back and forth game. Mets were up early, down 3-1, came back. Reynolds hit the big home run to put the Mets in front, but then a rare bobble from Addison Reed allowed the Yankees to tie the game, and they won it in the 10th. It's made a lot of changes since yesterday,
I'll say.
And line toward the middle, past the diving Flores and into center field. So McCann's got a base hit. Teixeira pulls in at second, and the Yankees have 2 men on.
Well, that one just sounded good off the bat. That was a rip.
Well, McCann's last 2 at bats have been rips up the middle for base hits. This one just by Walker.
So 2 out of 2 on now Didi Gregorius, just in case you missed all the Mets moves. In addition to adding Bruce, John Neese has joined the team after being acquired in trade yesterday. Ty Kelly was called up from AAA. Josh Edgin was called up from AAA. There's Neese. Brandon Nimmo got sent down. So did Seth Lugo. Asdrubal Cabrera and Justin Ruggiano both placed on the disabled list. That's a bunch.
Right.
Yes.
Here's Gregorius, who had a big hit yesterday. And that tailing fastball, 0-1.
Didn't have enough players yesterday. Got almost too many today.
It's not often you get 8 guys on the transaction list all on the same day. Gregorius hit the 2-run single against Addison Reed in the 8th inning that got the Yankees even last night. Now has 45 runs batted in for the year. 2 out and 2 on. And Gregorius sails one foul. Nice grab. Ooh, that was a nice catch.
Gregorius had a chance to put the Yankees ahead in that 10th inning. He had just a dreadful, I shouldn't say dreadful. We've all had bad at bats. Struck out with the sacrifice fly situation in that 10th.
So then Starlin Castro picked him up, hit the sac fly, and put the Yankees over the top. DeGrom ahead 0-2. Slider low and in, 1-2.
I mean, we were so used to Addison Reed getting the job done every time that I think some of the credit this Castro hit the sacrifice fly. What an at bat by Gregorius. 2 or 3 times it was interrupted because he kept fouling the ball off his shin and still able to put a ball into left field for the RBI.
That was an 8-pitch at bat against Reed. One-two coming. And Gregorius goes down on strikes. DeGrom ran that fastball in, has his first strikeout of the night, and the Yankees strand 2 in the opening inning. Mets come to bat against Tanaka when we come back. A top quality sales event. Jay Bruce plugged into the 3-hole with Yoenis Cespedes out of the lineup for another night. Cespedes should be back in tomorrow. Mets have 5 straight games with the DH starting tomorrow night in the Bronx, so he should be good to go despite the quad injury. Alejandro De Aza will lead off for the Mets tonight after he batted 8th last night. Isn't it interesting? The Mets have all of these outfielders, and yet De Aza now is getting the most playing time.
He's the only one that really has a lot of time in center field. Curtis did too early in his career. Good numbers for Tanaka, even better for the Yankees in his 21 starts. They're 15-6. He has 11 no decisions so far this year.
De Aza 0 for 3 last night after a stellar month of July. And Tanaka's first pitch fastball misses for ball 1. De Aza, Walker, and Bruce for the Mets in the opening inning. Mets are 2-6 on this homestand that ends tonight. Tanaka gets the fastball in for a strike, 1-1. Tanaka now 27 years old, his third year in the major leagues, and hoping that he'll have more starts this year than he's had in any of his 2 prior years. He's had to deal with injury issues with his elbow and his forearm that limited him to 20 starts his rookie year and 24 last year.
Yeah, 65 total in his career, 32-15 career record.
As it cracks one toward left center, slicing away for Ellsbury, but he gets there. 1 out.
And the Yankee defense also brought to you by your Honda dealers. Brett Gardner, of course, a fixture out in left field. Aaron Hicks gets a start in right field. Headley, that's Chase Headley at third base. Mark Teixeira, the all-star at first. Behind the plate, Brian McCann, the former Brave. And we're off and running.
Here's Neil Walker. Walker took an 0 for 5 last night after his 12 for 19 scorch through the last week.
Before his troubles with his elbow and forearm, Tanaka, when he first came up, was 95 plus. He was that good fastball and split finger. Now he's a guy that's going to sink the ball. He's going to cut it. He's going to throw a slider when he's behind in the count, and he can always put you away. He still has that split finger.
Ron, am I right or wrong that a lot of the pitchers from Japan, because they get worn down quicker because of lack of, they're not used to the schedule over here in the MLB. It's much more rigorous.
Yeah, they only pitch once a week, Keith, over there, so they're not used to making that start in every 4 days. But I don't know if that was the issue with Tanaka.
Well, in his first season, it was discovered he had a partially torn ulnar collateral ligament, which would have led a lot of pitchers immediately to have Tommy John surgery. He didn't. He worked around it, rehabbed it, had forearm issues last year, had a bone spur removed last winter, but has never had the Tommy John surgery.
So it took a player who's not among the American baseball culture to go against that culture and try to work his arm out and not get it operated on.
Well, it's the thing about Japanese pitchers, you know, talk about them pitching once a week in the professional ranks, but when they're in high school, they throw enormous numbers of pitches to try and win the prestigious high school tournament in Japan.
It's very similar to what you saw a lot. I don't think it's as much anymore, but in college baseball, before they were drafted, college baseball pitchers would routinely throw, 150 pitches or more.
2-2 to Walker with Jay Bruce waiting for his first turn at bat on deck. He fouls off the splitter.
For you folks at home, you can really kind of peek into the glove of Tanaka and see when he's throwing the splitter. You'll see almost all white in his glove. That's because both of his fingers are on either side of the ball.
That's hit hard, and Castro able to flag it down, and he throws on Walker, 2 out.
Well, that's called good hands right there. This is a rocket. A little snow cone.
That's got to be awfully odd for Jay Bruce, who's worn a Cincinnati Reds uniform since 2008. And now his first at bat as a Met. This was a highly touted prospect coming out of high school in Beaumont, Texas. First round draft pick by the Reds. Really a homegrown star right from the start. Hit 20 home runs his rookie season. The last 2 years, 2014, 2015, were not good ones for Jay. He was talking today about that. He said the reason why he has rebounded this year more than anything else is health. He said he didn't want to blame the last 2 years on the knee problems he had, but he said it formed bad habits, and that he's resolved those this year. A lifetime 249 hitter. He's never hit for a high average, doesn't draw a lot of walks, but he hits home runs and he drives in runs. 233 home runs in his career, more than anybody in the National League since he made his debut. Here's a strike, 3-1. He was very impressive at his press conference today. Guy is really going to slip into a natural leadership role on this team. Gets one in the air to shallow left. And Gardner's circling in. Puts it away to retire on the side. So Tanaka has a 1-2-3 opening inning. No score after 1 at Citi Field. New, better. See if you can share, boys.
Well, we documented how DeGrom's numbers during the day are great, but they're also great in his last 10 starts here at Citi Field. And I mentioned already the Tanaka's numbers, the Yankees numbers when he starts this season, 15-6.
And the Little Town Blues, usually we only hear that over at Yankee Stadium, but the third time the Mets have lost in the 8th inning with a lead. So that's worrisome. Don't need Frank singing the blues.
Starling Castro leading off the 2nd inning. Castro 0 for 3 last night, but drove in the game-winning run with the 10th inning sacrifice fly. Weather has cooled down. Low 70s, a little breeze blowing in tonight. Feels more like early September than early August. Oh! And Castro takes one off the elbow. And he'll go down to first base.
Well, occupational hazard. This ball ran in. Oh, it got him on the bicep.
I don't know if I've ever seen a player hit there.
I don't think I have either.
Right-handed hitter, right bicep.
He's going to have a bruise, I guarantee you that. Oh, that's a lot of flesh in there, a lot of meat.
Sure, had been doing a few curls just to toughen it up.
That's right. Like me today.
That's you. Leadoff base runner Chase Headley, the batter. Headley 0 for 5 last night. He lifts one out to left center, chasing Conforto back onto the warning track to make the catch. And Castro back to first. So a long fly ball by Headley for the first out.
Well, the wind at the top of the stadium looks like it's blowing out a little to left, and that ball seemed to carry a little bit.
Well, I noticed the airplanes landing at LaGuardia today. It's very rare when they land over the Grand Central from the west going east, and that's what was happening today. That's the flags are blowing right to left.
Nice.
Live shot of LaGuardia.
No line.
We didn't show the line. Here's Aaron Hicks, the switch hitting right fielder, hitting just 185 for the year.
We're going to watch Conforto go back here. Watch his head, staying, not bobbing and weaving, staying on his toes. You get on your heels, that ball starts bouncing like a basketball. Or Mitch, or what is it? Was it Mitch Miller with the follow the bouncing ball?
It was Mitch Miller.
And a 1, and a 2. And DeGrom falls behind Hicks 2-0. Hicks came off the bench last night, got a couple of at bats. Got robbed of an extra base hit by Granderson in the 9th inning last night. There's Tanaka on deck. Castro at first and 1 out. And Hicks with a check swing foul. Not what you want on a 2-0 pitch. Well, 3 teams bunched tightly at the top of the American League East. And the Yankees 6.5 back, 5.5 out on the wild card.
It's been a back and forth. Baltimore got off to the shaky start, right? And at some point was Toronto got the bad start. But it's been, that's going to be a heck of a division down to the wire.
Blue Jays lost a tough one last night in 14 to the Astros. That's hit hard into right field, a base hit for Hicks. Bruce gets over to cut it off. On to third goes Castro. It's Hicks settles for a single, and the Yankees have runners at the corners with 1 out.
He turns on this fastball.
Looked like a double off the bat, but Bruce still has a very strong arm, and people are reluctant to run on him. So now Tanaka, who is just 1 for 16 in his career. The only hit he's ever had came at Citi Field 2 years ago when he pitched a shutout against the Mets. See how the Yankees play this. He's also never had a sacrifice bunt. And they have him set to swing.
And the infield corners are in. Now Loney's got to hold the runner on.
Joe Espada coming down to talk to Tanaka, who must have just missed a sign.
Yeah, I think what they most teams try to do in this situation is a sacrifice safety squeeze kind of deal, where if the defense doesn't play it properly, you can sometimes steal a run.
Well, you bunt down the third base line, Ron. You can follow the runner at third, can follow the third baseman in down the line, and then if he throws to first base, you can walk home.
Cubs won a game that way the other day with John Lester getting a squeeze bunt down, and it's bunted foul. And it's 0-2 to Tanaka. DeGrom just trying to survive the opposing pitcher.
Right?
I mean, opposing pitchers have raked him this year.
And Tanaka not with a traditional kind of sacrifice there. Almost looked like he was trying to push the ball down the first base line.
I mean, look at that. Opposing pitchers are hitting 370 against him. It's like he's facing Tony Gwynn every time a pitcher comes up.
So guys who get paid for a living to hit can't hit the ground, but the guys who can't hit at all hit 370.
Well, it's got to be lack of concentration on his part. Castro at third, Hicks at first with 1 out. Brett Gardner on deck. And Tanaka tries to pull the bat back and does so. 1-2. Nick Lentz with the call down at first.
Does he try? He pulled it back, Ron. Yeah.
Got that moment in the evening when the sunlight is kind of in the hitter's eyes, reflecting off the glass in center field. It lasts for a few minutes, but it can be distracting. Check swing foul. So they took the bunt off.
And it must have been the right sign because Joe Espada didn't have to come down and talk to him again.
Not this time. Of course, there could have been a language barrier the first time.
In signs?
Flores staying in at third, and Tanaka with a late swing foul, making DeGrom work. Well, one more conversation necessary.
Well, Joe Espada might not have made the right call yesterday, but I'll tell you, it was a real exciting call, sending Gardner, the first hitter of the game, around for the attempt at the inside the park home run.
The thing about it is Joe almost got involved in the play at the plate. He was so close. Again, the 1-2. He does square this time, and he takes just outside. DeGrom thought he had it, but Brian Gorman said no. 2-2. So Tanaka giving a good accounting of himself here. He'll get a 7th pitch in this at bat from DeGrom. First and third and one out.
That helmet looks almost like it's too small on his head. Those pictures, I tell you.
Here's strike 3 called. So Tanaka strikes out. Second strikeout for DeGrom. Well, we were talking about Espada and where he was on this play at the plate. Look at him.
Look at him right there.
I mean, he was literally 10 feet from the plate.
Bobby Valentine used to do that. He used to get all the way down there.
What's the advantage to that? Or is it just enthusiasm?
Enthusiasm and enticement. You're the carrot for the runner.
Really? Now DeGrom worked out of 2-out trouble in the first inning. Now he's got to get through Gardner with first and third and 2 out in the second. Gardner flying to center field his first time up.
Interesting, Gardner stepping out on DeGrom. Big DeGrom's 1 out away from getting out of a jam, making him wait, not pitched to his tempo.
He gets ahead of Gardner with a fastball. Castro led off the inning, hit by a pitch. Hicks singled him over to third.
It's going to be interesting for the hitters. Usually you have to deal with shadows. This is like being fully lit up.
It'll be a little easier for a left-hander because it's out of the corner of your eye. A right-hander, you're the face is lit up from the sun, the reflection.
Late swing foul. 0-2. Just one of the odd quirks of this stadium. The sun sets behind third base, reflects off the windows of the office building in center field, right into the hitter's eyes. Now DeGrom ahead 0-2. Hicks runs, and Gardner strikes out to end the inning. 3 pitches. DeGrom takes care of Gardner. Back-to-back strikeouts to get himself through the top of the second. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by the new movie Hands of Stone, the true story of Roberto Duran, starring Edgar Ramirez, Robert De Niro, and Usher Ramirez. Take a look. I can understand the frustration of Brett Gardner.
You see the reflection up there to your right upper right-hand corner of that screen, and he'd had enough. Yeah, he's pointing up. Well.
Now with the sun having cleared, the Mets come to bat. Just sometimes works out that way. James Loney hits it right at Gregorius. One pitch and one out for Tanaka in the second.
Interesting. Loney had a hit right in that spot yesterday, and they've put Gregorius there now.
So now Wilmer Flores. Wilmer had 2 hits last night, including his 11th home run of the year.
Nice shot of the ballpark, filled up.
Sellout last night, better than 42,000. Letter high strike to Flores. Who's Hot brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Wilmer's numbers since early July. He's hit 8 of his 11 home runs in that span. Michael Conforto hitting 6th in the order tonight, waiting on deck. Tanaka lost his last start. He got hit around pretty well in Houston, gave up 4 runs in 5 innings. But he had been pitching brilliantly up until that point. His previous 4 starts, 2-0, 1.48. So trying to bounce back from that bobble. Wilmer pops one up. Castro out. Hicks in. And Castro stays with it. 2 out.
He was out there a long time. I think he probably anticipated at some point that Mr. Hicks was going to call him off, but not to be.
He had it all the way.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Conforto came off the bench last night after Justin Ruggiano got hurt. Had a double and a walk.
Double and walk, both against left-handers.
His first career extra base hit against a left-hand pitcher. So Terry Collins basically said today that he has no idea how he's going to comfort his outfield, no pun intended, in a situation where he's got Jay Bruce, corner outfielder, Michael Conforto, corner outfielder, Yoenis Cespedes, corner outfielder, Curtis Granderson, corner outfielder. He's got De Aza, who can play some center field, but he's the 5th outfielder and he's not going to play every day. So how do you see this all shaking out?
Well, I'll tell you how we'd like it to shake out, and that's for Cespedes, the DH, once the games go to Yankee Stadium in Detroit, and then after those 5 days be healthy enough to play some center field at times.
You think that's
reasonable? No, not the way he was moving that last game before he stopped playing.
Out to left field, Jason Gardner back, and he puts it away to retire the side. So Tanaka's retired the first 6 after 2 at Citi Field. No score.
morning, and well, I guess it was around noon. He asked me if I played any center, and I told him that I had. But it sounds like that the plan is for me to play a lot of right field. I told him that I'd be more than willing and happy to play wherever he needed me. I don't think there's a clear-cut center fielder on the team. I know that some guys have played a lot. I know Curtis has played a lot of center field, but that's not my decision either.
Jacoby Ellsbury leads off the third inning. So what he's saying is basically what every Mets outfielder has said. Conforto said it. Granderson has said it. We'll do whatever they need us to do. But the fact of the matter is that none of these guys is a center fielder.
Just, you have a big ballpark here. Can Jay or Curtis or Michael play a game a week out in center field? Absolutely. But we're talking about everyday center field.
And you're talking about protecting the pitching staff that is your greatest asset. 1-2 to Ellsbury, who flied to center his first time up.
It's your greatest asset, Gary, but tough choices are made sometimes when you're having this kind of run offensively and you start to make decisions just based on trying to get some runs on the board.
I think it's something that Sandy Alderson will have to address. I know we're talking about this season, but looking beyond, it's going to have to be, I think, addressed in the offseason.
Well, I mean, Juan Lagares is signed long term.
Yeah.
He had thumb surgery yesterday. He's probably going to miss the rest of the season. But, we don't know if Cespedes is going to be back next year. We know Bruce is under control for next year. Granderson's under contract, and Conforto's going to be here. So the problem's still going to remain.
I'm kind of all for giving Conforto a first baseman's mitt and let him go shake around over there at first base, see what he can do.
I think that might be part of the game plan in spring training.
Not this, throw him out there in the season, but in the offseason, I think he's got to do some rigorous work in the offseason. Get a first baseman's mitt and get familiarized with it.
Long turns at bat early in the game against DeGrom. Pitch number 7 coming to Ellsbury, and he socks one out to center. Standing his ground, De Aza. 1 out.
I was just thinking, how many first basemen are you going to go through here with this Mets team, Keith? Mentoring.
Well, I mean, the Mets will have a lot of questions in that regard. If they decide that Conforto is a first baseman, do you tender Lucas Duda or you let him walk? I mean, that's a hard question, right? I mean, for all of his ups and downs, Lucas brings something to the table that this organization likes. He's got power.
Yeah, right.
And he draws walks. He gets on base. Questionable when Lucas might return. It doesn't look like it's going to be anytime soon this year. Probably early September is the best case scenario. But those are all questions for going forward. Teixeira walked his first time up. And for the second straight time, DeGrom falls behind him.
Got to keep the ball upstairs on Teixeira. He's had a tough season.
Teixeira, in the final year of an 8-year contract with the Yankees, the first 3 years he hit 111 home runs and hit 266. Grounds that one into the shift. Flores playing on the right side, makes the play. That's a 5-3 putout. The last 5 years of Teixeira's contract, he's hit 229 with 89 home runs in 5 years. So
a lot of injuries.
But I think, it's really a cautionary tale for all of these franchises that sign players who are 30 and above or getting toward 30 to these long-term contracts that you might get a few good years out of them, but you have to think that the out years of those contracts are going to be less productive, and that's usually the way it works out. Brian McCann had a base hit to center his first time. takes the curveball outside, 1-1.
I was thinking of all people, maybe the most productive person who got a long contract a little later, Manny Ramirez.
That's a good call. What did he get? 8 years with the Red Sox, and probably 6 or 7 of them were productive. Then he went to the Dodgers and he had that great half season. To McCann. Time asked for.
Ask me when you think about the theme of DeGrom's games this year, and you guys did the game that he one-hit the Phillies. It's just, it's been a grind. Every start has been a grinded out.
Even on a night like tonight when he's got his best velocity.
Well, hitters, like pitchers, they make adjustments. The newness is off. They know what you got. Good pitch.
McCann strikes out on the curveball. 4th strikeout for DeGrom, his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. We go to the bottom of the 3rd with no score. Download their app today for exclusive offers and coupons. The Mets and Yankees, geographic interleague rivals, and there are others. And other than the Cardinals leading the Royals, the American League team has had the upper hand all time in these interleague close-in rivalries.
I'm not sure I care for that.
Travis d'Arnaud leads off the home 3rd and takes a strike.
I love the graphic. I don't like the outcomes there.
I totally understand.
You're not a fan of the junior circuit. I know that.
Did they still call it the junior?
Yeah, of course they did. Yes, I love it.
They've been around now for 115 years. Just for those who are new to this, the National League was formed in 1876. The American League, the junior circuit, was formed in 1901.
I think it's kind of past that ship has sailed. It's kind of passe now.
Over the bag, Hadley on the backhand, and the throw on target to get d'Arnaud one away.
Best line I heard about that was from Bobby Ojeda on this play by Headley. Stands up tall, right over the top. Bobby Ojeda, when he came to the Mets, said, how do you like to be over here in the senior circuit from the junior circuit? He says, I don't know, they pay pretty good on that junior circuit.
I think Bobby O liked pitching with a pitcher in the lineup better than DH.
Not because he wanted to hit, but because
He liked getting the pitcher out.
By the way, we all did.
Remember all those years they said that a left-hander couldn't win at Fenway?
Matt Reynolds had the big hit for the Mets last night. A 3-run homer in the 6th inning that put the Mets in front. His 2nd major league home run. Stands to get a lot of playing time now with Asdrubal Cabrera on the disabled list. Tanaka behind him 2-0. Reynolds not only had a home run, a double as well last night. That's a strike, 2-1. High-speed pitch comes from Barrios by Verizon. That's right. There you go.
Well, here's a big blow from Mr. Reynolds right here. First pitch fastball, jumped on that ball. And that was a home run in the original Citi Field, over the wall of Flushing, the Great Wall.
Over the M&Ms. Tanaka bounces the splitter, 3-2.
So far Tanaka has really good command of his fastball. He hasn't thrown that many good sliders, and his split finger has not been good. And he's retired 7 in a row.
Hasn't even broken out his curveball. Three-two coming, and he strikes him out with that splitter. First strikeout of the night for Tanaka.
Fastball running in.
Slider.
Yeah, it was
front door.
Kind of a backup slider.
Yeah, it did. It stayed inside, Ron.
Sunk a little bit.
Sometimes those pitchers can get away with it. They can make a mistake and get away with it.
Here's DeGrom, who's 3 for 31 on the year. And he lines one the other way for the Mets' first hit of the night.
Well done.
He's had enough of being beat up by the opposing pitchers. He's taken things into his own hands.
Well, I tell you what, the Mets starting pitchers can hit. It is as good a hitting pitching staff to hitters that I've seen. They all can swing the bat pretty good. Even Bartolo. Don't forget that long bomb he hit San Diego.
No one ever will. Here's De Aza, who flied to center his first time up. So the Mets have their first base runner against Tanaka. Splitter misses for ball 1. So if you're a pitcher who relies on a split finger fastball like Tanaka and you don't have it early, how do you get it going?
Well, that's the issue, is that you don't have it, but you still have to throw it. That's the only way you're going to get your feel. You see he's trying to use his slider more in positions where he uses split finger, but he can't throw it over yet. But you got to keep throwing it, and you hope that sometimes you have a batter up who's having a tough year or whatever, and you'll use it more against him just to get it going if you can. But really, it's like any other pitch. It's a field pitch, and the only way you get it is to use it.
Fastball sails outside. Now it's 3-0. Neil Walker on deck. A high strike to De Aza, 3-1.
I've seen a lot of umpires behind the plate today calling a higher strike this year, and I think they should.
Brian Gorman, the crew chief, calling the balls and strikes tonight. DeGrom at first and 2 out. First strike, 3-2.
Little backdoor slider.
Flip the infield, put Headley over on the right side now with 2 strikes. DeGrom will be running with 3-2 and 2 down. And Diaz gets a hold of one deep right field. Back goes Hicks. Back near the wall. It's out of here. 2-run homer, Alejandro Diaz, his 3rd of the year. And the Mets jump out to a 2-0 lead.
Well, I tell you what, after a really difficult first half of the season, he turns on this inside pitch, gets the barrel out. He may be making a statement, Gary, about, hey, don't forget me. I can play center field.
Well, all of the uncertainty about who's going to play where in this outfield might just redound in his favor if he keeps on hitting.
Well, 2-out lightning there for the Mets. Interesting that Tanaka threw the 3-1 slider and then tried to surprise him with the fastball, but he left it over the middle of the plate.
First run of the game brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. So a 2-out single from DeGrom. Diaz brings him around with a 2-run homer. Tanaka has given up his share of home runs at Yankee Stadium. It's to be expected. Yeah. They got the short portion right. He doesn't give up many home runs on the road. Only 16 home runs in 198 innings in his major league career on the road coming into the day. 36 home runs at home in 226 innings. Much higher rate.
Well, here's the home run again. Look at the choke up on the bat. And he just got the barrel out, and Ronnie, you called it. The ball kind of bled out a little bit over the plate enough.
Takes a slider for a strike, 2-2. Tanaka and the home runs. 13 is allowed this year, only the 3rd on the road. And the 10 all at Yankee Stadium. Walker in a hard ground ball. The Castro was able to snag his first time up. He gets a piece of the splitter.
Still just a little flat. It doesn't have any late break on it. Kind of just pulling it into the ground, which is allowing the hitters to foul it off and stay in the at bat. You'll see when he gets a good one, it'll drop a foot.
And is that just how it comes off the fingers?
Yeah, just not getting the feel, and also, you know, with his velocity down, it's a little different when you're throwing that split finger when you don't have the arm speed that you once had.
It makes a world of difference, Gary, when you lose a little bit of that velocity on the fastball. It gives a hitter that extra split second to wait when he throws the split finger. And maybe not fish so much for the bad one in the dirt.
3-2 to Walker. And he clears that one to Castro. And that retires the side, but the Mets with some 2-out magic. DeGrom gets a base hit. Diaz worked the count full and then parked one. 3rd home run of the year for Diaz, and a 2-0 Met lead going to the 4th. Series referred quite specifically to a World Series. Yankees Dodgers, Yankees Giants. And there were many of them over the years. Of course, the most recent Subway World Series came in 2000 when the Mets and Yankees got together. Didi Gregorius leads off the 4th inning. Jacob deGrom working with the lead for the first time after Alejandro De Aza's 2-run homer. Gregorius struck out his first time up, and he smacks that one to center field, chasing De Aza back right to the edge of the track to get it. One long out.
It's amazing the different styles that outfielders have when they go back on a ball. Look, Gary, you think of those big hulking strides that he takes to get to position. Tiny little strides from De Aza as he gets back and makes that play.
Well, it's worth remembering through all the conversation about what the Mets are going to do going forward in center field that the original plan for this team when De Aza was signed before Cespedes had re-signed was that De Aza was going to platoon in center field with Juan Lagares. Right. That was the original plan. Starlin Castro fouls one off. So maybe things are coming full circle. But the problem is then you have too many guys for the corners. If Cespedes is healthy and you have Cespedes, Conforto, Granderson, and Bruce, what do you do with all those guys? It still becomes an issue. Going to Castro.
Well, I like when Jake has that pitch. Low and away to right-handed hitters, starts a little off the plate and darts that outside corner.
Hit Castro in the arm with the pitch his first time up, down right on the right biceps. Keeps it away from him, 1-2.
I was thinking about Castro today. He has over 1,000 hits. So this is a 26-year-old. Ichiro's going for his 3,000th. He had none at this time in the major leagues.
Castro's career got off to a great start with the Cubs. 3-time All-Star. DeGrom strikes him out with a slider. His 5th strikeout. Where things started to slip for Castro, but he's not as valued a player now at age 26 as he was at age 22.
Well, I think that it started very early. You know, he was an offensive dynamo, but you know, his attention to the other parts of the game, the base running and the defense, were not ever there.
He wasn't a player that did the little things too, get a runner over, where he was in a position in the lineup with the Cubs where he was called upon to do that. He was getting hits by the bushels.
But now a guy who was a 200 hit a year guy is not the same kind of hitter that he was even. And I wonder why that has happened.
You know, a lot of times when he was a younger player, managers and coaches would just chalk it up to his inexperience and young age that he wasn't doing certain things. But when you're not doing them later in your career, people start to question if you're ever going to change. But his offense has always been there. And I know what you're saying, Gary. It's unusual to see him. And I wonder if it's the move to second base, unfamiliarity with the defense. I'm making excuses for him right now.
2-2 to Headley is deGrom. And a swing over the top of that. Headley flied out to deep left field his first time up. And he grounds that one down to Loney. deGrom gets over to cover. Side retired. 8 in a row retired by deGrom. That's lead 2-0 in the 4th. you so long?
Got the noise canceling headphones, got a Cespedes sleeve going. He's all ready for his first game.
Well, the Mets made a trade yesterday. Jay Bruce was asked which number he'd like. He was given the choice of 2 or 19. He chose Joey Votto's number, his good friend with Cincinnati. So how did that uniform come to be so quickly? Let's check. Bruce grounds one down to first, and Teixeira has it on the back end, 1 out. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Yeah, Gary, trade deadline day is so crazy for all involved, whether it's the players being traded or the front offices, but we don't often think about the clubhouse managers and what they need to go through getting everything prepared. And speaking with Kevin Kearse, the Mets clubhouse manager, the day is really split into 2 parts: the preparation for a potential deal and then what happens once the deal is consummated. In terms of the preparation, we found out officially about the Jay Bruce deal at around 4 o'clock. He knew about the potential for the deal at 11 a.m. in order to start to get all of his ducks in a row. Now, what does that entail? First of all, Kearse had to get in touch with Majestic, find out the jersey size for Jay Bruce. Then the second aspect is he has to go back, pull all these blank jerseys of the same size that he has in a back room, start to get things ready, the B, the R, the U, the C, the E. He didn't know at that point what number Jay Bruce would be, but get everything ready while keeping the inner circle small so that the news of a potential Bruce deal wouldn't leak.
Loney pulls one into right field, and James has a base hit. So the way I'm understanding it, Steve, is that anybody that the Mets might trade for at a given time, they get a heads up.
That's exactly right.
So was Bruce the only guy, or do we not know if there were other names that were floated that maybe Kevin had to prepare for who he didn't have to make a jersey for?
Let's put it this way. The circle was small, and he was not about to expand that circle. But he did find out at 11 a.m. it was potential, and at 2 p.m. it was probable, and that's when Kearse could start to do part 2 of his job, and that's really to make the new jersey. And once the deal is official, the first call that gets made from Kevin Kearse's part is to the Reds clubhouse manager. And what he talks to him about are, A, first of all, does Jay Bruce have black cleats? Because that's what the Mets wear. Jay Bruce had black and red cleats. That'll do for now. Then he needed to see if he had enough bats. And finally, like you were talking about, what jersey number does Jay Bruce want to wear? Once all of that information is in Kevin Kearse's hands, and MLB, by the way, has to approve the jersey number just so that you can start to look at the financial aspect of jersey sales and making jerseys and things of that nature. Then Kevin Kearse and his crew go to a place about 10 minutes away called Stitches, where they get the jerseys done. In Whitestone is where they get the jerseys made, and that's how, at least for this homestand, they've got these jerseys done for today for Jay Bruce and the rest of the new guys.
Bruce will need his road jersey for tomorrow up at Yankee Stadium. Wilmer Flores floats one to the shallow right. Hicks coming on and makes the sliding grab for the second out. So Flores retired, 2 away.
Nice play by Hicks.
Hicks able to make the play. Christopher almost made the play. Quite an effort.
Now, my question is this: was he trying to save the fans, or was he looking for an ESPN moment?
Chris's job is to protect the fans. He's like a Secret Service agent. Throws himself in front of that baseball, wrestles it to the ground.
Well, per Steve's conversation, Keith and I will tell you that whenever Mets were thinking of trading for someone, we would just ask the clubhouse manager. He would know right away. So
that's always the first to know.
And now you know why.
Exactly.
Conforto flied out to left his first time up. Loney at first and 2 out. By the way, I was racking my brain thinking about prominent 19s in Mets history, and I think that the most prominent 19 was Bobby O.
Bobby O.
By the way, that's 2 Bobby O mentions in one broadcast.
We'll go for the trifecta later.
Ron Gardenhire wore 19. Tim Foley wore 19 for a long time, but I think Bobby O probably
probably is the most prominent name.
18-game winner in '86.
MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV Premium includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Did Bobby O start that year in the bullpen?
Yes, he did.
He did.
He did.
And he won 18 games, so he could have been a 20-game winner.
It's kind of like David Cohn a couple of years later. He won 20 even though he started the year in the bullpen.
David was 20-3 that year.
That gets behind him and taken off for second Loney, and he makes it safely. Great base running by Loney. Ball in the dirt, didn't get far from McCann, but Loney able to take the extra base on the wild pitch.
Well, the old backhand there. Very heads up by Loney. So when you're on your toes, you can get that ball, you can get the motion going forward. And Loney's not exactly a trailblazer, a speed burner. So it's all about the quickness, the first couple steps.
So he's in scoring position with 2 out, 1 and 2 to Conforto. And Tanaka gets him swinging on the splitter to retire the side. Second strikeout for Tanaka. After 4 at Citi Field, Mets lead 2-0. Masahiro Tanaka appeared to have found his splitter on that last pitch to Conforto.
Yeah, it's getting better. You see that grip there. About halfway there, it just takes a dive.
And Conforto really committed early on that one.
So DeGrom with a 2-0 lead as he starts the 5th against the number 8 hitter Aaron Hicks, who has one of the 2 Yankee hits, a hard single to right in the second. Yankees threatened in each of the first 2 innings. They got 2 on in the first, but DeGrom struck out Gregorius to get through it. They had first and third and 1 out in the second, and DeGrom had back-to-back strikeouts to get through that. Now he's retired 8 in a row. And misses down with a curveball, 1-1. Jacob had 7 scoreless innings in his last start against the Rockies, so that's 11 straight scoreless. By the way, speaking of the Rockies, what a bad break for Trevor Story on that slide at second base. Hurt his thumb, came out of the game. They thought it'd be a day or 2. Torn ligament in the left thumb for Trevor Story. He's out for the season.
Oh my goodness. Leading the league in home runs at the time.
So think about this. We were talking last week about the 3 shortstops in the National League competing for Rookie of the Year. Story's now out for the season. Aledmys Diaz has a broken thumb, and he's going to miss considerable time, which leaves Corey Seager the last man standing.
Wow.
That's too bad.
Hicks strikes out. Good changeup by DeGrom for his 6th strikeout of the day.
DeGrom is in a nice little groove.
Threw all off-speed pitches to Hicks and ends them with a changeup.
Well, Hicks got the base hit the first time up. They made it 1st and 3rd on a fastball in. No hips there. Jeez.
Ronnie, when you've got a guy who you haven't faced before like Hicks, as Tanaka steps in and he's got a 185 average, do you pretty much just throw him fastballs till he can prove he can hit it?
You don't really, but you take him for granted occasionally, Gary. If you get behind a hitter like that, you will say, you know what, I'm going to go after him and be aggressive. And that's when they surprise you and get a base hit off you. Like Keith said, it was off a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and this time DeGrom learned his lesson. Said you're not going to get any fastballs over the middle. Most of the time when good players are not good hitters and have low averages, they can hit the fastball, but they can't hit anything else.
But they have to prove that first.
Yes. I mean, if they do hit anything, it would be the fastball.
2-2 to Tanaka, who struck out looking his first time up.
In pen. Nicely done.
Played with Wilmer Flores jersey. Full count. DeGrom has walked 1 tonight, struck out 6. And he gets Tanaka looking for the 2nd time. 7 strikeouts for Jake. And he's now retired 10 in a row.
Well, if you've noticed the last 3 innings, the one thing that has come in for DeGrom is the ball down. Almost every pitch has been down in the last couple of innings.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Brett Gardner, who's flied out and struck out as the Yankees start their 3rd time around the batting order against DeGrom. Jake gets the changeup in for a strike. Best way to start your weekday? Well, join Suki Scott and the Pix 11 News team with breaking news as it happens. Linda Church has your forecast 6 to 9. The Pix 11 Morning News bringing you the heart of the story. Slider in for a strike, and it's 0-2. So he's got it all working now. Scuffled in the first couple of innings. And now right on top of it. Oh, 2 to Gardner. Check swing. He went around strike 3. Got him with a changeup. And Jacob DeGrom strikes out the side in the 5th inning. 11 in a row for DeGrom, who has hit his stride. Halfway through at Citi Field, 2-0 Mets.
Masahiro Tanaka. Mets with a 2-run lead on the basis of an Alejandro Diaz 2-run homer. Jacob deGrom has done the rest with 5 scoreless innings. Darno grounded out to third base his first time up.
And hits one in the air to deep left field. Back goes Gardner to the warning track. Back at the wall. It's out of here. Travis d'Arnaud clears the wall for his 3rd home run of the year, and the Mets lead 3-0.
Slider hanging. Went right down and got it, reached for it. He had to reach for it. The last minute you saw him kind of strain to extend the arms. Right on the barrel, hanging slide ball.
So Masahiro Tanaka, who had only given up 2 home runs on the road all season before tonight, has given up 2 in this game to Diaza and to d'Arnaud, each of whom had hit only 2 home runs themselves. Matt Reynolds struck out his first time up tonight. This is the 3rd time the Mets have faced Tanaka, all in this ballpark. 2 years ago, he pitched a complete game shutout here the day before deGrom made his major league debut. Last year, the Mets got a couple of runs off him and beat him 2-1. And tonight they've got 3. So they're doing a little better each time. Reynolds strikes out for the first out of the inning. 3rd strikeout for Tanaka.
Tanaka's one of the few that has thrown a shutout in this Subway Series, right, Karen?
There have only been 3. The first Subway Series game ever played, that was Dave Malicki at Yankee Stadium. Andy Pettit had the other one in 2002. As deGrom owed a base hit and scored. Can't help but note this because we're sitting here in this great celebration of New York baseball, the sold out crowd, all the passion of the New York baseball fans. Did you see Matt Kemp's quote today?
I did. I read it.
Matt Kemp was traded from the Padres to the Braves and is making his Braves debut tonight. Said, I've never played before in a city that is passionate about baseball, in a baseball environment.
Oh my!
Baseball city.
Where's he been?
Looking forward to playing that.
Where's he been?
Well, he's been in L.A. and San Diego.
Well, no, I mean, where's he been?
But he's obviously never been to Atlanta.
That's exactly what I meant.
I mean, it's better to say nothing than to say that, isn't it?
I agree.
I mean, is there any less baseball passionate town than Atlanta when it comes to their Major League Baseball team?
That's one of those.
They are disinterested.
That's one of those removing all doubt kind of statements.
deGrom drives one deep right field. Back goes Hicks, and he'll run it down at the edge of the track.
Little guy hit it. That's what we used to say on the bench. I'm sure. Jacob, I'm only kidding.
Well, he's slender. He's never hit a home run, but that's.
He just got that one a little bit. I think a little bit towards the end. I'm not sure.
That was his bid. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Diaza, who cleared the right field fence to give the Mets a 2-0 lead in the 3rd. And this time thinking about a bunt, skips out of the way of the slider. Grounds one down to Teixeira. Easy play to retire the side, but the Mets add a run. Travis d'Arnaud's third home run of the season. Travis was ready. First pitch. Clears the left field fence to put the Mets up 3-0 after 5. Infinity Health Plan serving the needs of New Yorkers for over 30 years. 2 Mets going on the disabled list today as Drupal Cabrera with that knee injury and Justin Ruggiano, who strained his hamstring last night.
Well, they're saying the injury to Cabrera is very similar to what he had in spring training. I'll say the one in spring training, he walked off the field on his own merit. Not this one.
Kobe Ellsbury leading off the 6th inning. Swings over the changeup, 0-1. Ellsbury 0 for 2, fly to center both times. Well, there's no question it looked a whole lot worse when Asdrubal came off the field this time. Terry Collins said, though, that he made a lot of progress in the hours after the injury, and that the doctors, when they looked at it, saw pretty much the same amount of damage as they did the one back in March. So the Mets can only hope that. He was out about 2.5 weeks when he got hurt in spring training. Jam shot, right side. Walker bare hands and gets Ellsbury. Nice play, 1 out.
Well, DeGrom is just overpowering this lineup there. Gets serious kitchen right here on Ellsbury, who can run. Nice play by Walker. The bare hand. He had all 5 fingers on it. I always say 4, but we all have 5 fingers. But he nicely threw it over there.
Perfectly executed changeup.
That's right.
Like a palm ball.
That's right.
He threw it down under, though, so it was really like a Terry Leach changeup.
Teixeira has walked and grounded out to the right side. DeGrom's really got that changeup working now.
It's the best I've seen since he's been in the Mets uniform. The arm speed is perfect.
Get out to left center field, back toward the wall, and that ball is off the fence. Played nicely by Conforto. Teixeira heads to second, slides, safe. One out double for Mark Teixeira.
Well, Teixeira, who's become a dead pull hitter, hits that ball where it's pitched and just barely gets in front of the tag.
Interesting, his 2 hits in the series have both been to the left side.
And there's a good slide.
Just his 8th double of the year. It snaps a string of 12 in a row retired by DeGrom. And now Brian McCann with a runner at second and 1 out. McCann is 1 for 2, singled and struck out. Yankees have their 3rd hit of the night. DeGrom pitching out of the stretch for the first time since the 2nd inning. Fastball, strike 1-1.
That's a little paint right there. Knees in black.
Flicks it foul, 1-2.
You know, we're presented with so many statistics and analytics about pitching. Really, when it comes down to it for starting pitchers, everyone's going to have people on the bases. What do you do to prevent people from scoring? How do you perform best when you're going up with guys in scoring position? That's what it's all about.
Well, we talk all the time about hitters with runners in scoring position. The same applies to pitchers.
And we never do about pitchers, though.
Those key outs that prevent big innings.
First really disagreement between Garneau and DeGrom in this game. You know, one of the things that's an issue here is that DeGrom threw that fastball by McCann, okay? But the problem is that the outside fastball is against the defense. So there's no one on that side of the field in case he's late on a fastball. Anything slow and down, he's going to hit into the shift.
One-two coming. And right back to the fastball. But with a guy like McCann, who's been around for a long time, do you have to adjust your game plan because he's changed somewhat as a hitter?
Oh, absolutely. You know, there were times that fastball away, although DeGrom's throwing real hard tonight, that fastball away was not your strength against McCann. He could take you out to left center, double you to left center. Not as much anymore.
With the slider, still 1-2.
So that was the first breaking pitch we've seen in a while that he slowed his motion down. Keith, you saw it right away.
And he hung the slider too, and he threw the high fastball. By the way, he is throwing bullets tonight. He's put McCann, and very seldom have I seen McCann in a defensive mode up at the plate. He wanted to throw that slider in the dirt. He didn't do it.
Teixeira at second with 1 out. And flicks that one down the left field line. That'll go over the crowd.
These are the kind of at-bats that I always find so interesting. I mean, McCann is on his heels.
He is.
He's just trying to survive. And you got to love it.
You just got to make me think that you can pop one inside, up and in on him.
Seventh pitch of the at-bat coming to McCann. And the curveball fouled off.
It's funny that DeGrom has decided against McCann or versus McCann to throw 2 sliders because the changeup has been such a good weapon for him. Heading to count 1-2, you can even afford to bounce a changeup.
McCann's fouled off 4 in a row. And I love it.
That's the first aggressive cut he's had. McCann here. He needs to drop that slider in the dirt like he got the strikeout off of Gardner last inning. But he is throwing hard. This is really vintage DeGrom tonight.
Up to 90 pitches now with 1 out in the 6th. 9th pitch of the at bat coming to McCann. And he pops it up. Out goes Reynolds. to make the catch. 2 out.
That's a pitch you wanted, Keith. You just beat him inside.
Came in and got him.
So DeGrom wins that battle. And now we'll take on Didi Gregorius with 2 out and a runner at second. Did you happen to notice that the Giants were down 6-0 to the Phillies with Madison Bumgarner on the mound?
I did notice that.
Now it's 6-6. And Gregorius fouls off the fastball.
No.
The shocking thing to me is that playing in a ballpark where, you know, you have your share of pretty cheap home runs, that the Yankees are 12th in the American League in home runs and last in slugging percentage. And I'll tell you the kind of offensive year they've had. And that was with Carlos Beltran, who was having a terrific year. Now Beltran's a Texas Ranger. Gregorius, though, has had a nice year. His second season with the Yankees, far better offensive season than last year. And he taps one down to third. Flores waits on it and throws out Gregorius, side retired. DeGrom works around the Teixeira double. 6 scoreless innings for DeGrom and a 3-0 lead. During a 5-game hitting streak. After a prolonged slump, Steve Gelb's caught up with him before the game to talk about what the difference is.
Neil, really simple. What is the biggest difference when you're in a slump and when you're hot?
Well, I think there's less clutter, certainly, you know, above the shoulder blades, and you know, you're kind of stepping in the box, and your mind is clear, and you're just kind of worried about your timing and your rhythm, and you know, sometimes this game can speed up on you. So when things aren't going great, it seems like you know, you're thinking a little too much, you're trying to do a little too much, you're trying to you know, force the issue a little bit, but you know, more than anything else, it's about kind of keeping it simple and doing what makes you good, whether it's, you know, pulling the ball, using the big part of the field, in the middle of the field, staying inside the ball, whatever the case may be. So you just kind of have to, you know yourself more than anything else, but also kind of know when you need to get back to square one, and maybe look at some video, maybe get back on the tee in the cage. But like I said, it's about trying to keep it simple.
Well, I like the keep it simple part. I find it very interesting that he mentioned go in there and hit off the tee. Because I'd never. It's interesting how different generations do different things. And to me, when I went in the slump, I just went out and took extra batting practice, a lot of extra BP, and I'm sure that Neil did that. But get back to basics when you're struggling. That is most important. And he also mentioned thinking too much, maybe. There's all those things. There's so many variables. And you get rid of those variables when you go back to square one.
How much do off-field considerations play in? Because I know with Walker, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, and I can only imagine what that feels like. And B, he and his wife are due to have their first child any day now. Does that stuff play into hot and cold as well?
I don't think that. I can't imagine. I think you would look forward to a new child, and it would make you happy that you got another one on the way or your first. I can't see how that could possibly get in the way of your focus on the game, because that's a joyous thing.
Yeah, part of becoming a professional player is being able to drown out all that stuff. You know, all the bad stuff and all the good stuff. It's all got to be, once you come to the ballpark, it's got to go away just for those few hours that you're here.
And does it always work that way?
I would say the better player you are, the more it works that way. To sometimes the chagrin of your family.
So sometimes you have to be a little too focused as far as others might be concerned.
Yeah, it's a strange dynamic. It is. You know, it's just it's so hard to play at a high level at this level, and it takes all your attention, or most of it.
2-2 to Walker, leading off the home sixth. And Neal skips out of the way. Full count. Tanaka has not walked a batter tonight. He's only struck out 3. His strikeouts have gone down every year. Struck out more than a batter per inning his first season with the Yankees. He's down to 7.3 this year. Strikeouts per 9. 8th pitch of the at bat coming to Walker. And Neal pops it up. Gregorius waiting for it. 1 out. Get to Citi Field for Free Shirt Friday on August 12th. Mets play the Padres at 7:10, and all fans in attendance will receive a Jerry's Familia T-shirt, courtesy of McDonald's. For tickets, visit Mets.com. Free Shirt Fridays. Should there be a slash in there? A dot? Mets.com/Free Shirt Fridays. Is that right?
You're so good, they try to mess you up, Gary.
Here's Jay Bruce for his 3rd turn at bat. Fly to left, grounded out to first. 0 for 2 in his Mets debut. Bruce started the night the National League leader in RBIs with 80, tied for 4th in home runs with 25, 6th in slugging percentage, and 4th in extra base hits. Mets are getting themselves one of the top sluggers in the league.
It's going to be something to see when you have Cespedes back in the lineup and Bruce probably hitting behind him in the lineup.
On the inside corner, and Bruce is caught looking at the slider, and that's the 4th strikeout for Tanaka.
And that's a paint your wagon slider right there. This is a tough one right there. Too close to take. Good pitch.
So a rough first night at the plate so far for Bruce. 2 out and nobody on. And now James Loney, who had a base hit his last time up, a single to right field. And he grounds that one into the shift. And Castro throws him out to end the inning. Easy inning for Tanaka. Sets the Mets down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 6th. On we go to the 7th with Jacob deGrom up 3-0. tonight, the debut for the Mets of Jay Bruce, but Jacob deGrom has been front and center, working in the sunshine to his benefit. Wesley's first game, tonight, as well as Jay Bruce's first game. Alejandro De Aza put the Mets in front with a 2-run homer. Travis d'Arnaud had a solo shot against Masahiro Tanaka, and deGrom has done the rest. 3-0 New York Mets as we go to the 7th. Have to make that adjustment.
Yes.
Here's your Lexus line score. deGrom has limited the Yankees to 3 hits through the first 6 innings. He's walked 1, struck out 8. Starlin Castro, one of those strikeouts. And he hits the first pitch through the hole. A base hit to start the 7th inning. So Castro on base for the 2nd time. Has the 4th Yankee hit of the night.
Well, Castro, who was hit by a pitch in the hand in the first inning, or the bicep, in fact, sorry, comes through with a hit here.
That's how you get 200 hits in a year.
Yes, it does.
Well, you go the other way. You got a good, tough pitcher out there on top of his game. You just can't be swinging for the downs.
Now Chase Headley is 0 for 2 tonight, 0 for 7 in this series. Takes the fastball for a strike. So Tanaka's thrown only 81 pitches through 6. He's due up 4th in this inning. Do you even think about letting him hit, or are you going to automatically
if he gets
back?
up, you got to pitch hit for him.
Yeah,
you're down 3 runs. That's the National League, the senior circuit.
1-1 to Headley. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Guys, we all know that Jacob deGrom's effectiveness comes from his ability to command his pitches. And Steven Matz said one thing that people don't fully understand is just how natural that command comes for deGrom. We talk all the time about how athletic he is, and Matt says that athletic nature just allows him to be so fluid and control wherever he wants to put the baseball. And Matt's told a story about when the two were rehabbing, both from Tommy John surgery in Port St. Lucie, and they were just having catch. Steven Matz said anywhere he put his glove, that ball would be right there when Jacob deGrom delivered it. Meanwhile, Matz would be throwing the ball all over the place because coming back from Tommy John usually takes a little bit of a while to get that command right back. But for deGrom, it's always been there.
Matz will pitch tomorrow night, studying his iPad in the dugout. It's a new thing in baseball this year. Headley bounces one down to Loney.
Nice.
Out at second, returned by Reynolds. Low throw. Loney handles it for the 3-6-3 double play.
Like music to my ears. Beautiful 3-6-3. Loney knew we can get back to the bag. Didn't hesitate. He even waved off deGrom. Love to see that. Nicely done.
So just like that, 2 out and nobody on. Aaron Hicks at the plate. Alex Rodriguez on deck. Hicks is 1 for 2. And takes the curveball for a strike. Well, it's been a lot of speculation in the last couple of days about A-Rod and what the disposition of his contract is going to be. Still has the rest of this year and all of next year. But at 41 years of age, has played less and less and has produced very little.
Forgotten man of late for Joe Girardi's team.
Joe was asked about it before the game tonight, and he talked about distributing at bats to others and that there really were not a lot of at bats available right now for Alex Rodriguez, and there's been speculation that the Yankees might just release him.
Wouldn't that be something?
And you have to wonder at that point if anybody else would take a flyer on him. Remember that Alex has 696 home runs, and there might be a team out there, maybe a team not in contention, that might like to have him hit his 700th home run in their uniform, especially with a free look. deGrom behind Hicks, 3-1, and he pops it up. Out goes Walker to call with Reynolds, and now De Aza takes charge. Side retired. 7 scoreless innings for Jacob deGrom. Stretch time at Citi Field, 3-0 Mets. brought to you by Land Rover Above and Beyond. Home runs by Alejandro De Aza and Travis d'Arnaud have the Mets in front 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Wilmer Flores leads off against Masahiro Tanaka. Wilmer's 0 for 2 tonight. And Tanaka finds the outside corner with the splitter. Flores, Conforto, and d'Arnaud for the Mets in the 7th.
No one up in the bullpen for the Mets.
Well, DeGrom's at 103 pitches through 7. Addison Reed had a rare failure yesterday. What were you reacting to?
I thought Wilmer hit a can on the backswing, but he didn't, I guess.
Well, I think he did, but McCann didn't react.
I must have hit him in a spot that was protected.
Tough guy. That's drilled into left field. Gardner has to play it on the hop. Almost got too close to it. Ball gets loose, and Wilmer breaks for second, and he'll make it. Little mishandling of the ball as Gardner got that throw in, enabling Flores to take the extra base.
He really gets on top of his high fastball. Tomahawk, very nicely done. And this ball is a heck of a play by Gardner. I could have got by him. And Gregorius could have backed up. It's not a good throw in. It's all on Gardner here this error.
You know, the one thing that infielders are taught, though, if the ball bounces, you let it go, because that way that won't happen. It'll roll right to the second baseman.
Right, because Castro was back in the play up.
If it's on line, yes.
So it's a single and error on the left fielder, Gardner, enabling Flores to move to second.
Well, the Mets are in business to add on here.
Conforto is 0 for 2, flied out and struck out. And Michael hits one out to left, chasing Gardner back over his head and off the base of the wall. Flores around third, he'll score. Conforto slides in with a double and an RBI, and the Mets lead 4-0. That's the Michael Conforto of 2015, hitting the ball solidly to left field.
Took the words out of my mouth, Garrett. Absolutely. Stole my thunder.
You still got lightning, though.
Look at this. A ball outside corner goes right with it. And this is a bullet off the base of the wall. So that is a very promising sign. And Wilmer Flores had a great read. That'll get a smile on your face.
16th double of the year for Conforto. Mets now with a 4-run lead. And here's d'Arnaud, who homered his last time up.
Wilmer got a terrific read. I didn't think this ball was off the wall. Over Wilmer halfway. There you go. You just keep it in third gear, Wilmer. There you go. You got it. Well done. Mets are on point tonight.
Leg of d'Arnaud, a foul ball. Well, with the 4-run lead now, the Mets are going to get the bullpen cranking. Remember, the Mets added 2 left-handed relievers today with John Neese joining the team, and there is John. Josh Edgin up as well. And looks like Neese might get an opportunity to pitch in the 8th inning with a couple of left-hand hitters due up. Jacob deGrom at the moment, helmet on, ready to hit. He's 2 batters away. Ground ball off the glove of Tanaka, run down by Gregorius, and d'Arnaud is out at first base as Conforto takes third. I think Tanaka deflected that ball. Not sure.
Double clutch by Gregorius, but still had time to get d'Arnaud, but
A little tough on the exchange there, had a little trouble with the grip, but gives a nice easy short hop to Teixeira. Did Tanaka get a glove on it? No.
Nope. So now the infield comes in with Conforto at third and 1 out. Matt Reynolds at the plate. DeGrom is out on deck. Reynolds has been up twice tonight, struck out both times against Tanaka. DeGrom at 103 pitches through 7. So it looks like he'll get a chance to start the 8th.
And a little floater that's going to fall into right center for a base hit. Conforto trots on in. Matt Reynolds with a bloop single to drive and a run, and it's 5-0 Mets. It's all going right for the Mets offense tonight.
Well, the sky's falling on the Yankees right here. Everything's going the Mets' way. But the Mets are executing.
Yeah, productive at bat by Darno brings the infield in, and a high splitter.
So 2 runs home in the 7th. 5-0 Met lead, and now DeGrom, who's 1 for 2, has hit the ball hard twice tonight. DeGrom singled to left, scored a run in the 3rd, and lined out to deep right field in the 5th. Bunt on the first pitch, but not on the second. Ball on a strike. What a wild game they have going in Philly. Phillies went up 6-0 on the Giants. Giants tied it. Phillies went back in front. Angel Pagano's just homered to put the Giants up 8-7. And they're only in the 6th inning. Giants with a 2-game lead in the NL West over the Dodgers.
There goes Reynolds. The ground ball toward the middle, base hit. Reynolds goes first to 3rd. Second hit of the night for Jacob DeGrom.
Reynolds on the move. The Mets are making things happen. Hanging slider, and that's going to be all for Tanaka. He's just got lunched here.
Off the bat, it looked like a ball Castro should have gotten to, but he never did. And DeGrom has his 2nd hit of the night. Call to the bullpen, brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. The Yankees will make a double switch as Tanaka comes out. 5-0 Mets in the 7th. We'll be right back. Your Tri-Honda dealer. Hurry into your local Tri-Honda dealer for great savings on 2016 models. Rob Refsnyder comes in to play right field. He'll bat 9th. The new pitcher Richard Blyer will hit 8th.
Looking to do a little better than he did yesterday. Gave up a hit to Curtis Granderson when he came in, and then walked Michael Conforto.
Putting behind the count on everybody.
And with the lefty in the game, Barry Collins is going to call on Yoenis Cespedes to pinch hit. It's a little bit surprising, if only because the Mets are up 5-0 and they're trying to rest Cespedes, but they do plan to DH him tomorrow in the Bronx, so this will get him a tune-up at bat for that assignment. And a chance to blow the doors off this game with 1st and 3rd and 1 out. Reynolds at 3rd, DeGrom at 1st. First multiple hit game of the season for DeGrom.
Who's going to play center field?
I would imagine Conforto.
5-0 game. You take out your defense. I find that a bit surprising.
Cespedes batting for De Aza, who hit a 2-run homer back in the 3rd. Cespedes last played on Saturday night against the Rockies, had 3 plate appearances, came out when the quad acted up again, trying to run on a ground ball. Reaches for the fastball away, 2-1. It's been better than 3 weeks now since Cespedes first hurt that quad. Spent 9 days on the sidelines around the All-Star break. Has come back in fits and starts since. Blyer behind him 3-1. Blyer faced 2 batters last night, didn't retire anybody, gave up a hit to Granderson and a walk to Conforto. 29-year-old rookie. He's been through 4 different organizations, making his 15th major league appearance. 1st and 3rd and 1 out, 3-1 to Cespedes, and he lines one sharply. Castro eats it up. The throw to first is not in time. Cespedes beats it out, and the run comes home, and it's now 6-0. A bullet, and Castro just got waylaid by it, and Cespedes with enough leg strength in that quad to beat it out for an infield hit.
Oh, more than enough, Gary. He smelled that hit. If Castro makes this play, they turn a double play. The inning's over. But that just ate him up. And I think this is going to be ruled a base hit. What do you think?
Yes. Well, let's watch Cespedes out of the box.
He went 3-0 to get there.
That's the best he's looked running in a while. He'll come out of the game, though, for a pinch runner. Curtis Granderson will run for him, so I guess maybe Curtis will go in and play center field. And now Neil Walker batting right-handed for the first time. So the Mets have scored 3 here in the 7th to bust this game open. Walker's 0 for 3 tonight. So Blyer's now faced 3 batters in this series and still hasn't retired anybody. Giving up 2 hits and a walk.
It's having a Jake McGee kind of series here at Citi Field.
Yeah, but where's his Scott Oberg? DeGrom now at 2nd. Granderson at 1st, and Walker clocks one toward the left field corner, and that is down for an extra base hit. DeGrom is in. Granderson will be held up at 3rd. Walker with an RBI double, and it's 7-0 Mets. And the Mets are laying it on. All 7 runs charged to Masahiro Tanaka.
Well, the Yankees got rid of a lot of their big guys in that bullpen. And the Mets are taking advantage of the Yankee pen here tonight.
Last night the Yankee bullpen turned in 4 1/3 scoreless innings, but Blyer didn't retire anybody last night. He hasn't retired anybody yet tonight. Now Jay Bruce will get the at bat against the lefty. Infield in with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Bruce is 0 for 3 in his Mets debut.
Mets have 4 runs home in this 7th inning. And Bruce fouls off the fastball.
You know, it's just the opposite, right, guys? If you have a lot of depth in your bullpen, then guys like Blyer who don't have a lot of experience are moved down a notch or a couple of notches. But now with Miller and Chapman gone, he's pushed up a couple of notches and has to get more important outs.
Let me ask you a question. Now that the Mets have a larger lead, are you more inclined to pull DeGrom at this point?
I would personally, yeah.
Yeah, complete games and shutouts aren't that important anymore.
No need for him to go any further.
I mean, his next start will be in Detroit Sunday, a day game, so he'll have a slightly short rest. 1-2 now to Bruce, who's hit .360 this year with runners in scoring position, 3rd best in the National League.
Oh, I was looking for him in a red uniform. I go, where is he?
Things change quickly around here.
Did you listen to Steve Gelb's report about the uniform?
1-2 from Blyer. And Bruce takes a slider for strike 3 called. He didn't think so. That's the 2nd out. And the first man Blyer is retired in this series.
Just kind of a slider from Blyer that just catches the outside corner.
So in Jay Bruce's first game as a Met, he doesn't get a hit with a runner in scoring position, but everybody else does.
Yes.
It's inspirational.
Yes.
John Meese
Now it becomes
getting ready for his first game back with the Mets.
perfect game for John to come into now to make his re-debut as a New York Met.
Been a lot of those this year, haven't
Yeah.
Loney, the 9th man up in the inning. And he takes a strike. Think about it. Kelly Johnson returns to the Mets. Jose Reyes returns to the Mets.
That's right.
Tyler Clippard, who pitched for the Mets, returned to the Yankees last night. Where's Juan Uribe?
Could be coming.
He could be next. He fouls one off. Homer Flores got this whole thing started with a base hit. He's now on deck. RBIs in this inning for Conforto, Reynolds, Cespedes, and Walker.
Boy, the line on Tanaka is not pretty.
6 1/3. 7 runs, 8 hits. No walks, 4 strikeouts, a wild pitch, and 2 home runs.
And they are 7 earned runs.
Only with a late swing foul.
So this
Tanaka started the night 6th in the American League in ERA. Started at 3.16. He goes up to 3.46 with a rough outing, his 2nd straight. Had a bad one in Houston last time out. Meanwhile, DeGrom, 7 scoreless innings. We'll see if he's done or not. Loney's 1 for 3 on the night. Granderson at 3rd, Walker at 2nd with 2 down. And slider off the plate, 1 and 2.
Well, there is no one has left the ballpark. This park is jam-packed. Nice to see.
Off the foot of Loney, and that one hurt. Goes hobbling away. Shin.
Yeah, it hurts. It'll make you grimace. Quiver and quake.
The grimace? Like Mayor McCheese? The Hamburglar? 1-2 from Blyer. And Loney pulls that one down to Shera, and Loney can't even get out of the box. Side retired. 9 Mets came to bat, and 4 of them come home. Jacob deGrom getting plenty of run support tonight. Wilmer Flores got it started with a hit. Michael Conforto drove him in. Matt Reynolds drove home a run. So did Cespedes and Walker. Mets lead at 7-0 after 7.
For the Mets, remaining in the game, now playing center field, number 3, Curtis Granderson, and now pitching, number 49, Jonathan Neese.
Well, you never know what to expect in this game. Jonathan Neese traded to Pittsburgh in the offseason, and the deal that brought Neil Walker to the Mets, and now with Antonio Bastardo traded to Pittsburgh, from whence he came. Jonathan Neese is a Met once more.
He's got a uniform. He's got a locker. No apartment, but he's working on that.
Well, Neil Walker, for whom he was traded, sublet his apartment, and John says he has no intention of evicting Neil and his wife, who are about to have a baby, so he'll find somewhere else to live.
Better check his condo's bylaws before you announce that you're subletting it.
Well, John did not have a great year pitching for the Pirates, was shunted to the bullpen recently, and now resumes a bullpen role with the Mets, which was his task last year late in the season and in the postseason, which he did very nicely. Good cutter, and it's 2-2 to Refsnyder. But the reason that Neese is here is because the Mets feel they may need some bolstering of their rotation, and if need be, he can be the guy to slide over and make some starts. Refsnyder drives one out to right, and Bruce is right there, 1 out.
I think they also had a taker in Bastardo. Bastardo, who pitched very well for Pittsburgh last year, can maybe go back there and find some of that magic. And Sandy was saying that, you know, it's nice when you can get a player who has had success here, and you know he's not going to be overwhelmed by pitching in New York.
So it might be a positive change of scenery for both guys.
Yeah, big time.
I thought it was interesting to listen to John today. He said, to be honest, I didn't pitch well in Pittsburgh. He was asked, of course, about some of his parting comments after he was traded to the Pirates. He had said that he was looking forward to playing in front of the Pittsburgh defense.
Yeah.
And the implication seemed to be that he had not had good defensive play behind him here. And he said during his press conference today that he never meant to criticize his Mets teammates, that they knew how positively he felt about them, and he didn't think that there would be need for a lot of fence mending.
Gardner's 0 for 3 tonight. And he strikes out on the fastball. Nice looking fastball from John at 92 miles an hour for the second out.
You see that happen very often. Hat trick for Gardner.
Didn't stay in. Fanny flew out.
So Nice has retired the first two in the top of the 8th. Now Jacoby Ellsbury. The last time we saw John Nice, he pitched a gem of a game against the Mets in Pittsburgh. Maybe as good a game as he pitched for the Pirates all year. To Ellsbury, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Fouled away. You know, every summer we are very privileged to have a great cadre of interns who work for us here at SNY. And one of the best is Josh Rigger. It's his last day. Josh goes back to Ithaca College, where he plays football for the Bombers. That's drilled into right field, a base hit for Ellsbury. So as Josh departs after a hard working summer, where we didn't pay him nearly as much as he was worth, we wish him the best as he goes on his way.
They live on Keith and I's tips alone. You know what I was thinking is that I was going to say for Josh, he can go back to double sessions in Ithaca, but I don't think they do that anymore in college. Double sessions for football. No, Josh is saying yes in the truck.
The difference is now they let them up water.
Tips. An occasional salt tablet.
Tips? What are you talking about?
You don't tip the guy when he gets your bag?
I got short arms and deep pockets.
Like an alligator.
Used to be a good tipper in the clubhouse in the day.
How about when they hold your parasol? Do you tip?
No.
2-1 to Teixeira. Well, those are John Nice's numbers. Spent his entire career with the Mets before this season. He got his old number back. 3-1 to Teixeira, who had a double his last time up. Look at that game. Phillies tied it up again. Brian McCann would be next. Ellsbury will be on the move. 3-2, 2 out. And Teixeira pulls one foul. There's the Yankees box score, brought to you by Land Rover. Just 5 hits. First 4 against Jacob deGrom, who was wonderful through 103 pitches over 7 innings and shutting the Yankees out. Outside, ball 4, and Teixeira's on. So a single and a walk with 2 out. We'll get Brian McCann to the plate with 2 men on. Dan Warthen will revisit a man he has visited on the mound many times.
I was going to say it's very Pavlovian. He probably just didn't even realize it. Got to the top step and just said, okay, let me go out here.
Meanwhile, deGrom now with 2 straight outings of 7 scoreless innings after that bobble in Miami.
I was looking at his numbers. You know, 7 times out of his 19 starts, he's gone 7 or more innings, 2 runs or less. I mean, that's some really consistent pitching.
And if you go back to his 1-hit shutout in Philadelphia, that's 3 of his last 4 starts now. He hasn't allowed a run.
And he doesn't have as much to show for it as he probably should have with only 6 wins, counting on number 7 tonight.
McCann is 1 for 3 tonight. And takes a fastball strike. 0-2.
Ellsbury at second to Sharon at first. And there's strike 3 called. McCann caught looking. Barks about it to Brian Gorman. Puts his hand on Gorman. Don't see that very often. A couple of strikeouts for Nice in a scoreless inning of relief in his return to the Mets.
How about that?
And the conversation continues.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that this is, thus far in this young season, this is the biggest give up at bat.
Oh, it rips one into right center field. Take your words back. Up against the wall, and Koo is going to think about a triple and hold with a double. And it is a perfect bunt by Reyes. Can't do it any better. And now with home plate vacated, Koo's coming to the plate. Safe.
One of the great, hilarious moments in Mets-Yankees interleague history. Dae-Sung Koo's unlikely double against Randy Johnson and his dash for the plate. The backstory on that, twofold. One is that Koo had one prior at bat a few days earlier against the Reds, had stood as far away from home plate as you can stand without being illegally outside the batter's box, and just watched 3 pitches go by, which is why nobody expected him to even swing the bat, much less get a double against Randy Johnson. Anthony Swarzak in to pitch the bottom of the 8th against Wilmer Flores. The other piece, and this may be legend, it may be true, but I have heard from a number of different sources that when Dae-Sung Koo ran the bases,
yes, I heard that. Go ahead.
Shero waits for it. And the foul territory 1 out. That when he put the jacket on to run the bases, there was a weighted ball in the pocket.
Yes. I
and
heard
that
that
when he slid past Posada to score that run, he had a weighted ball in his pocket.
That can't be true. Come on. Ronnie, it's a pitcher. You never know.
That's true. Left-hander too, right?
And also,
yes, Mr. Koo wearing number 17.
That's it had hits in it.
Here's Conforto, 1 for 3, doubled in a run. The Mets 4 runs, 7. Well, the scene will switch to the Bronx tomorrow night. Here's number 17.
There it is. That's right.
Let's count all the people who've worn 17.
Felix wore it, right? Did Felix wear it? Neon?
No, he wore 16.
That's right. That's right.
But since you wore it, Jose Lima.
Oh, since, yeah.
Luis Lopez, Dae-Sung Koo.
Didn't Ellis Valentine wear it? before me?
Jeff McKnight, Brent Maine.
What the heck were they doing?
Graham Lloyd.
Just debasing the number.
Fernando Tatis. David Newhan. Wilson Delgado.
Oh, stop.
Jason Anderson.
That's enough.
Satoru Komiyama. Mike Bordick. Kevin Apier.
It's like devaluing the dollar.
Yes, they did get off the gold standard.
Yes, they did.
That's it out to left field by Conforto. Back toward the corner goes Gardner, and he can't get it. An extra base hit for Conforto. He takes a turn. He'll hold at second base with his second opposite field double of the night. And things are going much, much better now for Michael Conforto.
Well, good signs right here. And off the wall as well. All not close to a home run. And the ball away again. So that's all what we all want to see from Conforto here. Rediscover that opposite field.
Now Travis d'Arnaud, who homered back in the 5th inning, 1 for 3 on the night. Here's the good news about number 17, Keith.
Yes, dumb. I'm all ears.
In the last 6 years, nobody's won.
It's trending.
It's trending toward disuse.
Well, because Keith has it in the closet here. That's why I used it.
I was down in my basement the other day. Got my uniforms down. Oh, a little chin. Just wanted to come inside. It's just that so many few people knock people down. The hitters just can dive over that plate.
Anthony Swarzak, who came up with the Minnesota Twins. A stint in Cleveland last year before coming to the Yankees. Catches the corner with a slider. 1-2. And Reynolds on deck. Yankees no runs, 5 hits. The Mets 7 runs and 11 hits. Mets took the lead on Alejandro Diaz's home run in the 3rd, and they've been in front ever since. Ground ball toward the middle. Gregorius to his left. Off the bag to Sharon, gets the tag on d'Arnaud for the 2nd out as Conforto goes to 3rd.
Little loose with the throw, Gregorius. Easy play for the fine fielding Teixeira. Just come off the bag, make the tag.
So 2 out, a runner at 3rd. Now Matt Reynolds, who blooped a single to right to drive in a run, and the Mets 4-run 7th. 1 for 3 on the night. Well, our next picks telecast. When will that be? It'll be Saturday, August the 13th, when the Mets play the Padres. Be there at 7 o'clock.
That team will be unrecognizable.
Well, they traded virtually their entire rotation. And Matt Kemp. And Melvin Upton. They did not trade Derek Norris, which I think surprised a lot of people. Everybody thought he was going to get dealt before the deadline. Hit sharply, but right at Gregorius. And this time the throw is true. Side retired. And that sends us off to the 9th. It's with 3 outs to get, up 7-0. Mohegan Sun, full of action, full of possibilities, full of life. Ninth inning at Citi Field. Mets with a 7-0 lead, trying to even up this series before it heads to the Bronx tomorrow night. John Neese, who worked a scoreless 8th, stays on for the 9th in his reintroduction to the Mets. He'll face Didi Gregorius leading off in the top of the 9th. Gregorius 0 for 3 tonight. The Yankees have only been shut out 3 times this year despite all their offensive problems. Mets have 9 shutout victories this season. Tomorrow night, Steven Matz for the Mets. And the Yankees haven't named a starter for tomorrow night. Ivan Nova was supposed to go as Gregorius cranks one to deep right field, headed toward the wall, and that's gone. Gregorius breaks up the shutout with his 12th home run of the season. And it's now 7-1.
Hanging curveball, Keith.
Yes, it was. That gives the Yankee fans something to cheer about. Bittersweet. Hanging breaking ball. Stays. Oh boy, right in the wheelhouse.
So the Yankees still have only been shut out 3 times this year.
That's right. Barely spit it out.
So I was just about to say the Yankees have to figure out who's going to start for them tomorrow night. Grounded by Castro, and Walker comes in to get it. 1 out. Heard that it might be Chad Green. He's been working out of the bullpen for the Yankees, and he's made some starts this year, right?
Yep. Yes, he has.
Or they could call up a pitcher, but find that out after the game. Here's Chase Headley, and he flies one to shallow right. Long way for Bruce near that short wall, and he makes the play with no problem. 2 out. So the Yankees are down to their final out, and Alex Rodriguez will hear the reception from the Citi Field crowd.
Well, he's going to have to get familiar with the new dimensions here at this stadium. But that's an easy one for him right there.
Rather rude greeting for A-Rod. Having a miserable year at age 41. And he hits the first pitch in the air behind first base. Loney into foul ground. Can't get to it. A-Rod does have 9 home runs this year, which has gotten him to 696 in his major league career. And now Neese ahead of him 0-2. So the Yankees down to their final strike of the night. And A-Rod flies one to right. Bruce coming on. And the ball game is over. Alex Rodriguez flies out. Jay Bruce's team gets a victory in his Mets debut. Mets put together a lot of offense tonight. 7 runs on 11 hits despite Bruce's 0 for 4. Home runs by De Aza and d'Arnaud. Great pitching by Jacob deGrom, and the Mets even up the series with a 7-1 win.
Well, I think the story for the Mets, especially on the defensive side, deGrom just continues to grind it out. Another real solid start tonight. He got off a little slow, then after that really put the hammer down on the Yankees.
Offensively for the Mets, everybody hit in the ball club. 2 hits even for deGrom, who scored 2 runs to help his cause. Jay Bruce 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts in his debut as a Met. That's not going to happen too much more. A little bit of nerves, but home runs from De Aza at the big one. The 3rd home run, d'Arnaud, his 3rd also.
Game summary brought to you by the Dodge Summer Clearance Event. Mets lost a tough one last night. They get even in the series tonight with a 7-1 win. DeGrom lowers his ERA for the season to 2.41, fourth best in the major leagues. Good win for the Mets tonight. Good offensive execution. And Jay Bruce able to celebrate with his new teammates his first victory in Mets pinstripes.